Good afternoon and welcome to news. I'm Salmata Jalloh. Coming up in this afternoon's edition of news, Chinese to construct West African Infectious Disease Research and Treatment Center in Sierra Leone. An organization to promote the welfare of vulnerable children and women launched in Freetown. Next, it's to conduct survey ahead of implementation of the Sierra Leone Social Health Insurance Scheme. And the mayor of Freetown City Council officially commissions the Jalloh Community 51st Bridge in Freetown. All the stories are more including business and sports news online this afternoon. For our first story this afternoon, the Chinese ambassador Zhao Yanbo has disclosed that the Chinese government is planning to construct a West African Infectious Disease Research and Treatment Center in Sierra Leone. He made a disclosure during the relaunch and unveiling of plaques for the reference laboratory for viral hemorrhagic fevers and National Training Center for Viral Detector and Biosafety at the Sierra Leone Chinese Friendship Hospital at Jure. Joseph Stanley was there.
Laboratory played a significant role during the Ebola crisis. Ambassador Yambo applauded the government for its stride eradicating Ebola as well as providing quality health care to the populace during the crisis period. He recalled that during the Ebola outbreak, China was the first country to dispatch medical personnel to Sierra Leone, noting that it was during that time they realized that the country is in dire need of diagnostic laboratory.
I clearly remembered 2 years ago when the Ebola broke out, China was the first country to provide materials to dispatch medical personnel. Know that detection of Ebola virus is the first the first challenge we face. So Chinese government hired a very big plane to send the mobile lab to Sierra Leone.
The Chinese ambassador expressed the Chinese government's commitment to collaborate with the government to fight infectious diseases in the country, as well as create an enabling working environment for healthcare providers nationwide. The Deputy Director General, Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, George Gao, said that infectious disease has no border as it is a global concern and pledged to build the capacity of health professionals in the post-Ebola recovery plan. The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Abubakar Fofana, described China as one of the country's strongest bilateral partners at both national and international levels. He revealed that China was the first country to respond to the call of President Nkrumah for support in the fight against Ebola and thanked them for their timely intervention that saved lives. The health minister said that Sierra Leone is the only country in the sub-region with this type of facility, noting that this is the type of support the country needs to ensure a health resilient system.
I believe we are the only country in the sub-region with this level of laboratory, and I believe in the entire Africa, probably it's only South Africa that will have a similar laboratory, but I don't think there's any other country in Africa, outside of South Africa, that can boast of this facility. And they stood by us during the Ebola, and now going beyond in the post-Ebola, I am pleased to announce again that the People's Republic of China have committed themselves to supporting us in a way that even ourselves we have never imagined. They have even poised to come in an even bigger way than they came during the post-Ebola.
Dr. Fofana commended the Chinese government for their continued support to the country and expressed the hope that the ties between the two countries will continue to yield dividend. SABC News, Joseph Stanley reporting.
An organization to promote the welfare of vulnerable women and children has been launched in Freetown. Concern for Vulnerable Women and Children has its motto, do one thing for a vulnerable child. The launching ceremony took place at the Bank of Salem Complex, Kintom. For Mayor Shekusumada reports.
On post-Ebola Sierra Leone, the need to seek the welfare of women and girls is crucial for the growth and development of this nation. These categories of persons are most vulnerable in society, as was said by all of the speakers who spoke at this launching ceremony. Concern for Vulnerable Children and Women is an organization that has been formed by people who believe that humanity must be served at all times. According to the Chief Executive Officer for Concern for Vulnerable Children and Women, Pastor Sita Conte, this is a non-profit-making organization established in 2014 as a result of atrocities committed by rebels during the war, which led to the breakdown of many families, leaving many women and children vulnerable, and the Ebola-making situation worse. Our aim is to restore their dignity and respect. She said their beneficiaries are mainly widows, single mothers, Ebola survivors, female prisoners, street children, street beggars, and commercial sex workers.
We work with orphans, we work with street children, we work with child beggars, we work with widows, we work with single parents, we work with prostitutes, those people you refer to as commercial sex workers. We work with the female prisoners in the correctional center. We work with these youths who are addicted to drugs. We work with the ghetto youths as well. We work with these guys you call clique boys. They are our friends. We don't call them clique boys. We call them our friends.
Chairing of a launching ceremony, Executive Director, Disability Sierra Leone, Teddy Fodemusa, said it is a good thing to do, taking care of women and children. As growing up, he said he saw sufferings of children of his age, and when he became a teacher, he experienced it among his pupils. He commended Concern for Vulnerable Children and Women for making it possible to take care of the most vulnerable in society. Deputy Minister of Sports, Ismail Al-Sanko Conte, said women and children are the most vulnerable and must be collectively looked after to change their conditions. I am proud to be part of this arrangement, he said.
The name of the organization is sending a positive signal in the minds of the public and also in the minds of its beneficiaries, because the word vulnerable is specifically targeting people who are actually in need. And in our country today, we know children, women are the most vulnerable. And it is our responsibility to assist them in any way necessary to change their lives and improve their status.
He called on well-meaning Sierra Leoneans to support the organization in the interest of women and children of this nation. Company Secretary, Mercury International, Madam Cummins John, officially launched of the Concern for Vulnerable Women and Children.
It is a fact that children and women are the most vulnerable in society. I mean, it's not just limited to Sierra Leone, but worldwide. And I have to commend the Executive Director and members of the board, as well as all of those who, in their different ways, have been responsible for the creation of such a wonderful initiative. In conclusion, I hereby officially launch the Concern for Vulnerable Women and Children.
Among those who made meaningful contributions was Kev Koba from the Society for Democratic Initiative. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheku Smaila.
Aggrieved former workers of African Minerals Limited, now Shandong, have expressed disappointment over how relevant authorities are taking the matter that has to do with their salaries and severance packages. Kaisenes is one of the aggrieved workers. He was on our sister program, Good Morning Sierra Leone.
Rather unfortunate our position we found ourselves now. But it's actually heart-rending for a nation to find its citizens in such a situation. We have been staffs of the former company African Mineral, which has been changed over now to Shandong Steel Group. We have worked with this company for various years. As for me, I have served the company for 9 years.
9 years?
9 years. I was transferred from the Tonkolili iron ore mines to the Bo exploration camp due to operational structuring. I went to the Bo exploration camp. Fortunately, I met a few other colleagues there that were securing company properties worth over thousands of dollars.
Okay.
It came to a time the management of African Minerals, the head office, Freetown, dispatched 2 senior officials to the Bo exploration camp. Mr. Abdul Tijansi, who is the company legal advisor, and Mr. Harold Smith, who is the security manager and happens to be the asset evaluation officer. They went there and asked the staffs that the management in Freetown have asked them to close down the camp. They asked us that we should get prepared to do the camp packing and we should come over to Freetown. We spent 3 weeks on the whole operation and everything was packed and moved over to Tonkolili, where they requested for fleet of trucks. They were with us, aiding us in moving over.
They paid for the 9 years you've worked for?
Well, that's the unfortunate part of our situation now. We have never been sacked. Termination, dismissal, or redundancy, none of the above. As I'm talking to you now, we are still staff of the past company and now the present company.
You're presently working?
Presently, we are not working. We have been driven out of the office by Mr. Abdul Tijansi, the company.
For a year now?
For a year now. We have been without salary for 15 months now.
So what is more for the Kasi?
Initially when this issue started, before even they sold the company over to the Shandong Steel Group, we have been going there trying to see the top management authorities. We've seen with the HR manager, he told us, let's try and see Mr. Mosiri Fadika. He is the sole responsible individual for our issue. We saw the accountant, the same statement she made to us.
That we should see,
the
chief
Mr.
executive
Fadika.
officer.
Yes.
So this soon?
Yeah, we tried on a series of occasions to see him, but we were not able to see him because he was not in the country.
Have you channeled your complaint to say the Ministry of Labor?
We have channeled our complaint to various state authorities, to various human rights.
One of the aggrieved workers of former African Minerals Limited, Kaisenes. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security has been accused by the public for not responding swiftly in addressing labor issues in the country. But contrary to that view, they have made all efforts to ensure that they get the side of the former African Minerals Limited, now Shandong, to address the problem. Our own Anne-Marie Gegbai spoke to the Communication Officer, Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Lansana Biosisi, on their own stance in relation to the aggrieved workers.
A clarification as to us, these people are still staff of Africa Mineral, now Shandong, because they were never retired, neither terminated, neither redundant. me make a clarification. As to us, these people are still staff of Africa Mineral, now Shandong, because they were never retired, neither terminated, neither reduced.
We apologize for that little hitch. As part of their corporate social responsibility, Airtel Sierra Leone has donated food items worth millions of leones to Muslims in Boa and Kenema district. Donation is part of Airtel humanitarian gesture in the holy months of Ramadan. Aruna Patrick Amar sent us his reports.
To Muslims during the holy month of Ramadan is an annual event by Airtel to support Muslims and 14 mosques countrywide. According to Junwos Johnson, Head of Corporate Affairs, Airtel Sierra Leone, and Abibatu Junisa, Usage and Retention Manager, their company cares for their subscribers as they always respond during their needed times. The item, they said, is to support Muslims to break their fast and can also be used during the day of Laylatul Qadr. They said their company believes in the blessings of the holy month of Ramadan by giving out to others, especially the less privileged, as they are aware that some people break their fast in the mosque as some cannot afford. The items include rice, cooking oil, sugar, milk, onions, toothpaste, and Ovaltine. They noted that similar donation will be made in Makeni and Kono.
As a company, Airtel, we know they're normal at the business for collect from a customer. We always look at opportunities for give back, for touch people in lives differently. And we know say during this term of Ramadan, iftar time, not all man can get, so they get support fast. So we see as a company, we see how best we can able for touch lives of people. We not able for everybody that is country, definitely. So we look at selected mosques nationwide and say, with this now we are small token, not a big thing, but a small thing for people that know say, as a company, so they think about what we're doing this whole month of Ramadan.
Chief imams from various mosques thanked Airtel for the gesture for considering them. With this donation, they added, Allah will continue to promote their company, as this is not the first time they are receiving such donation from them.
We pray God, let God promote the organization from time to time, let God do that for me. So I appreciate this one for say, when I don't remember, say, this is the holy month, as he say, madam, not to everybody they afford, forget, every sunakati of Sukuri. I make plenty of people there, now they can eat. This month, when I don't remember Central Mosque, tell them thank you.
Airtel Sierra Leone continues to improve its business strategy. Its contribution to the country's socio-economic development is remarkable, especially in the areas of education, health, sports, entertainment, and infrastructure.
President Anis Barkroma is leading a 5-man delegation for Chad, Egypt, and Zimbabwe to hold consultations with his colleagues, heads of state and government, on the United Nations reform as coordinator of the Committee of 10 Heads of State and Government of the African Union. The president will also seize the opportunity to strengthen diplomatic relations and bilateral cooperation with those countries. The president is expected to return on Thursday. The mayor of the Freetown City Council, Franklin Bode Gibson, has officially commissioned the Bololo Community footpath bridge back of Priscilla Street. The bridge worth hundreds of millions of leones and was constructed with the hard work of Councillor Lusan Conte for 380. Abubakar Bangwa reports.
past 60 years, residents of Bololo community have been finding it very difficult to cross over to Sykes Street and its environs as a result of the non-availability of a bridge. According to report, the stream that runs through the community has claimed the lives of people, including 2 school children. The construction of the footpath bridge is dedicated to the safety of people and in memory of Emmanuel Lee and other contributors who shared their aspirations with the councillor of Ward 380, Alusain Alukonte, to provide the community with a bridge as promised. Access to Bololo community through Sykes Street was difficult, but with the commissioning, residents will breathe a sigh of relief and have easy access to both sides of the community. Commissioning the bridge, Mayor Franklin Body Gibson paid tribute to those who have contributed in making the project a reality, including Pam Mason, Edward Davis Associate, among others. Mayor Gibson praised Councillor Alusain Conte for listening to the cries of the people. He called on the community to own the bridge and provide maximum security to prevent people from destroying the railings of the bridge. He said the mandate of the council is to address the needs of the people in the municipality, adding that the bridge will serve as a strong pillar for the movement of people from one community to another. He cautioned people not to construct houses in disaster-prone areas and ordered the demolition of this building to prevent people losing their lives. The brain behind the construction of the bridge, Councillor Alusain Alukonte of Ward 380 praised Edward Davis Associate and Emmanuel Lee for providing the support and funds. He said even though there were challenges, the construction of the bridge will benefit Ward 380 and 381.
The people asked that I should do a footbridge in this particular community. And by the grace of God, I think God gave me all the necessary support. He touched the heart of the CEO of Edward Davis and Associates so that he can help me in the area of funding, and also council to give me the necessary support. So it was during 2008 when these people, the first meeting that I had with my people, they asked for a footbridge to gain access to the Sykes Street environs. And indeed, I've landed the footbridge.
Councillor Conte commended the youths, ward committee members and elders of the community for their interventions in monitoring every aspect of the construction work. He said this is just the tip of the iceberg as more projects are in the pipeline for Ward 380. The Member of Parliament for Constituency 107, Honourable Francis Kowa, said development is every individual responsibility in the community. He described the community as an eye-opener to all and promised to give his maximum support and cooperation to the councillor for the development of the community. Other speakers at the ceremony were pleased with the level of work being done so far by the councillor and encouraged residents to keep the community clean. The cutting of the tape by Mayor Franklin Bode Gibson climaxed the event.
The Member of Parliament, Honourable Rosalind Jayatu Smith, and councillors of Ward 103 have provided bags of rice and cash to 60 mosques in the constituency. Honourable Smith noted that the Muslims are observing the Ramadan notwithstanding the current hardship Ebola has positioned the country. The Member of Parliament called on the Muslims to continue to pray for the country. A skills upgrading center to provide entrepreneurship skills to graduates from technical and vocational institutions is underway in Makeni. The initiative by Mankind's Activities for Development Accreditation Movement, MADAM, is a step to support the middle-level manpower of the country. Princess Gibson was at the Break Lane ceremony. Antina reports.
Middle-level manpower education has been a missing link in the country's educational system. Since the introduction of the 6334 system of education to enhance middle-level manpower, much has not been achieved due to inadequate structures. This center will provide entrepreneurship skills training for graduates from technical and vocational institutions. Equipped with modern facilities, to carve an outstanding image of an institution that specializes in training. Mohamed Sori Conte is the director of Mankind's Activities for Development Accreditation Movement, Madam.
On this center itself, the Skills Upgrading Center will provide training in entrepreneurship for graduates from technical and vocational institutions. It will also provide skills training in competence-based training for technical and vocational teachers. You will, of course, agree with me that some of the teachers, technical teachers in vocational and technical institutions, do not have a formal training in pedagogy. They are not trained teachers. So this center can also provide skills in pedagogical skills for those teachers.
Keynote speaker, Minister of Education, Dr. Mikhail Uba, emphasized the importance of middle-level manpower in educational system. He says decision on courses of study should be based on its relevance in society. The Education Minister called on young people to value skills training and take advantage of the opportunity to benefit the community. He also calls on the involvement of the community in the development of young people. A member of the board of Madam Balu Kamara says the initiative is in line with government's policy to build the capacity of young people. She describes the private sector as a vehicle to promote economy, pointing out that Madam is a credible organization. The paramount chief of Shebora Chiefdom, Honorable by Shebora Kasanga, says the construction of the Skills Upgrading Center is laudable venture by Madam. He says the activities of Madam is outstanding in Makeni and call on young people to embrace the opportunity, pointing out that the grammar school system of education is not the only way for sustainable livelihood. Other stakeholders also made meaningful contributions. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
The Independent Media Commission is to file an appeal against the ruling which was handed down by Honorable Justice Musu Kamara in the matter between David Tambayo and the Independent Media Commission. An IMC press release explained that the IMC Act of 2000 mandates the Commission to protect the interests of the public against exploitation or abuse by media houses. According to the release, the judgment did not address this cardinal mandate of the IMC, as the Commission had always ensured that journalists are even given a fair hearing by their peers. The IMC release adds that contrary to claims made in the media by Dr. Tambayo, the courts in the judgment did not order compensation to the plaintiff but considered that costs of the case be determined by the master and registrar. Therefore, the release went on the IMC does not have to pay compensation, and Dr. Tambayo may have confused the issue, the release concludes. Up next is the business news.
Hello and welcome to the business update with me, Awanatu Conte. We begin with the foreign exchange rates. The US dollar buys at 6,150 leons and sells at 6,274 leons. The British pound sterling buys at 8,258 leons and sells at 8,430 leons. And the euro buys at 6,820 leons and sells at 6,957 leons, courtesy of the central bank. Sierra Leone's economy has been hit by double shocks of the deadly Ebola virus and drop in the IMO in the international market. Lucien Ganda tells us more.
2014-2015 West Africa Ebola crisis impact updates. The economic and fiscal impact has outlasted the epidemiological impacts due to severe shocks to investment, production and consumption throughout the sub-region, Sierra Leone, Liberia and Guinea, coupled with commodity price shocks. The World Bank release states the overall impact of the Ebola crisis on Sierra Leone has been estimated at $1.9 billion. The shock has been worsened by the large decline in the world price of iron ore and other commodities. The World Bank projected that Sierra Leone's recovery is expected to be very slow this year, with a projected growth of 0.1%. Sierra Leone, according to the World Bank, as a commodity exporting country, had two major declines. The price of iron ore has dropped from $100 to $40 per ton, as the two of the mining companies, London Mining and Shandong Iron and Steel, are non-operational as they are not able to receive resources from the export of iron ore, which has warranted the depreciation of the leones. Prior to the iron ore price shock, Sierra Leone had been one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, mainly driven by the increased activities in iron ore mining, according to the World Bank. The high expectations were short-lived as the price of iron ore on the international markets fell from $139.87 per metric ton in March 2013 to $40 by December 2015. This fall, coupled with the Ebola virus disease crisis, substantially eroded the country's fiscal space and undermined its growth projects. Business News, Lucien Ganda, Freetown.
Thanks to Lucien Ganda for that report. Well, that's the business update. I'm Awanatu Conte. Keep watching.
Well, from the business desk, we'll move over to sports, and for that we join Francis Barnard.
For sports on Newshour, the Honorary Consulate of India in Sierra Leone has joined other Indian missions around the globe to observe International Yoga Day. International Yoga Day was set aside by the United Nations in June 2014 as a way of internationalizing the Indian physical traditional practice. Sheku Sumaila sent us this report.
Hotel in Freetown was like this. On the 25th of June, the International Yoga Day was celebrated in this country, although the actual day declared by the United Nations is June 1st. Celebration of this day started in 2014 after the Indian Prime Minister Modi made a case to the United Nations. The yoga keeps people physically fit, have sound mind and focused. This is a physical exercise that has been going on in India for a very long time. As it is a tradition, one can see that all of those who are participating in this exercise are fit, very much alert. On this day, they had more women than men, married and unmarried women. Meditation is key in yoga, which means one has to be seriously focused. As you listen to instructions from the trainer, International Yoga Day is celebrated by the Honorary Consulate of India to Sierra Leone. Harish Hagnani is the Honorary Consul of India to Sierra Leone. He explained the importance of yoga.
Yoga is something which gives you immense benefits when you practice it. It cures a lot of diseases, brings yourself near the nature, humanity. It makes your body cool, and it helps you to energize yourself. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, had proposed in United Nations to declare an International Yoga Day. This was unanimously approved by all UN members. Last year, on 21st June, was the first International Yoga Day. Even it was Ebola time, but we still managed to celebrate in Hotel Radisson last year. And this is the second International Yoga Day which we are celebrating in Sierra Leone.
Minister of Sport, Ahmed Kanu, expressed delight to have been part of this year's International Yoga Day, as yoga has a role in global health efforts and that it is a preventive medicine. It is cost-effective, he said.
Sports and physical education programs can promote a broad spectrum of life skills and values that build on individual capacities such as team building, communication, decision-making, resilience, and improving conditions for educational achievement. All of these, as the President of the 69th session of the UN General Assembly said before the vote, a unique embodiment of unity between mind and body. Yoga brings thought and action together in harmony.
Physical education, he said, is vital in transforming the world. Yoga, the sports minister said, is about mental action and mindful thoughts. He informed his audience about the forthcoming National Sports Development Conference and assured all that yoga is going to be seriously discussed. Reporting for SABC News, I'm Sheku Sumaila.
Many thanks to Sheku Sumaila for that sports story. The Sierra Leone Cricket Association has elected a new executive to run the affairs of the association for the next 4 years. It is also agreed that the amended constitution of Cricket Association will take effect with immediate effect. Among the executive members are Trevor Samura, who was re-elected as CEO, and Michael Kagu, Technical Director of the Sierra Leone Cricket Association. Lionel Messi has retired from international duty after missing in a penalty shootout as Argentina lost a fourth major final in 9 years. According to Messi, the national team is over. He said after defeat by Chile in the Copa America final, "I have done all I can. It hurts not to be a champion." Messi, 29, has won 8 La Liga titles and 4 Champions Leagues with Spanish side Barcelona, but his only major international honor is Olympic gold at 2008 Games, as well as losing 2 Copa America finals on penalties to Chile. Messi was in the Argentina side beaten by 1-0 by Germany in 2014 World Cup final. Well, now we bring you the fixtures for today. Euro 2016, Italy will be playing against Spain at 5 p.m. today, and England will play against Iceland. With team news for England, quickly, England manager Roy Hodgson is expected to restore Raheem Sterling, Dele Alli, Wayne Rooney, Harry Kane, Walker, and Danny Rose to the starting lineup. Daniel Sturridge could play on the right side of attack with Kane in the center and Sterling on the left. Iceland, along with Spain, were the only teams to start with the same lineup in 3 of their group games. Alfred Garsin will be back on the bench after missing the win against Austria through suspension. England's Gary Cahill and Ryan Bastian are 1 booking away from a ban. Well, that's all we can provide for you in this edition of Sports Updates. That's it for sports.
Thank you very much, Francis Barnard. Well, with sports, we round things up this afternoon. And now, before we go to the main point once again, the government is to construct a West African Infectious Disease Research and Treatment Center in Sierra Leone. An organization to promote the welfare of vulnerable children and women has been launched in Freetown. Next, it is to conduct a survey ahead of implementation of the Sierra Leone Social Health Insurance Scheme. And the mayor of Freetown has officially commissioned the Bololo Community Footpath Bridge in Freetown. That's all in this edition of News. Many thanks to the producer, Hawana Tuponte, News Editor, Sheku Smala. Thanks for watching and goodbye.